My haters, lolly mindset, pedo mindset of Tozy. We winning. We not going nowhere. We run this country. You guys think I'm going to jail? I have freedom, and we're showing you freedom.
Everything. I don't give a fuck. High as volume. How you doing, my nigga? How you doing? Oh, black. Oh.
What happens when a streamer takes trolling too far? Not just breaking community rules online, but crossing real borders, angering countries, and finally standing in front of a judge with years of prison time on the line. That's the story of Johnny Somali, the man whose hunger for views and attention turned him into one of the internet's most controversial figures. His journey isn't just about live streams. It's about the cost of fame, the danger of reckless behavior, and how far someone will go to keep the spotlight. Johnny Somali's real name is Ramzi Khalid Ismail. Born in Phoenix, Arizona in 2000, his Somali father and Ethiopian mother gave him pieces of different worlds. But his rise to internet notoriety wasn't about heritage. It was about chaos. Johnny built a reputation as someone who would say or do almost anything if it meant people were watching. He told wild stories about being a child soldier, a pirate, even a real estate worker, but none added up. What did add up was his ability to grab attention. He started streaming on Twitch, but after breaking too many rules, he was banned. That didn't stop him. He jumped to Kick, Rumble, and eventually Party, always bringing the same style: shock, trolling, and chaos. Some saw him as a clown, others as a provocateur. But everywhere he went, he stirred anger. And soon, that anger would follow him across oceans. In 2023, Johnny took his antics to Japan. What was supposed to be content quickly spiraled into outrage. Riding trains, he shouted about Hiroshima and Nagasaki, making cruel atomic bomb jokes. He yelled, "We'll drop another one," as if war was a punchline. He trespassed onto a construction site, shouting Fukushima at workers.
It's good to know people. It's good to know people in Japan. Let's be respectful. Hiroshima, Nagasaki. You know Hiroshima, Nagasaki. We're gonna do it again. You know what I mean? I hope nobody. I hope nobody in the chat was saying weird. If I go back and whoa, what the? Yo, chill out.
Blasted music in restaurants until staff begged him to stop. To locals, it wasn't entertainment. It was disrespect. Authorities arrested him and fined him about 200,000 yen.
America, what are you doing? I'm going.
The Japanese press called him disgraceful. But instead of a wake-up call, Johnny saw it as fuel. The attention only made him want more. His next stop was Israel. In early 2024, Johnny showed up in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem with his camera rolling. Once again, he poked at deep cultural sensitivities, this time in one of the world's most tense regions. He harassed random people, mocked backgrounds, and was accused of harassing a female officer.
Joe, what was the problem earlier? Y'all started shooting me, go to jail. Y'all need to go to jail. Oh, you a bad bitch. I swear to God. You a bad bitch. I'll take you to dinner. I swear to God. I'll change your life. I'll change your life, baby. Fire one is Harvey Weinstein. I love you so much. You're one of my favorite top Jews.
And so I get briefly detained, then released, he split his audience. Some cheered his fearless content. Others couldn't believe how far he pushed the line. But for Johnny, controversy meant engagement, and engagement meant success. He was feeding off outrage like it was oxygen. What he didn't realize was that South Korea would change everything. By late 2024, Johnny Somali arrived in Seoul. Within days, he became the center of a nationwide firestorm. It started when he live-streamed himself at the Statue of Peace, a memorial honoring victims of wartime atrocities. He kissed the statue and danced around it while his camera captured every second.
With the Korean people, I love Korea. Everything that I did in Japan was for the Korean and the Chinese people.
To South Koreans, this wasn't a joke. It was an attack on their history and pain. Outrage exploded online and in the streets. But Johnny didn't stop. He rode subways blasting offensive sounds. He went into convenience stores, poured noodles on counters, and refused to leave. He laughed as employees begged him to stop. But unlike Japan or Israel, South Korea pushed back. Angry locals confronted him in the streets. In several live streams, he was attacked, punched, shoved, his phone smashed as his feed went dark. For Johnny, these confrontations only drew more viewers, but the authorities weren't about to let him walk away. In November 2024, South Korea placed Johnny under a travel ban. He was indicted on multiple counts of obstruction of business and other minor crimes. At first, he mocked the charges as part of the show, but then reality hit. In March 2025, Johnny appeared in court for the first time. He arrived late wearing a bright red MAGA hat, daring the courtroom to see him as nothing more than a troll. He pleaded guilty to some obstruction charges and minor offenses, but denied others. The trial was only beginning. By May 2025, prosecutors hit him with even more charges, including serious deepfake allegations, charges that could carry over 10 years. He pleaded guilty to more obstruction counts but fought back on the deepfake charges, insisting he was not guilty. By July, an 8th charge had been added, raising his potential sentence to 12 years. Then came August 2025. In his third hearing on August 13th, Johnny pleaded guilty to another obstruction charge after a witness appeared. That brought the total number of guilty pleas to 4 for obstruction, plus 2 misdemeanors. But the 2 most serious charges, both deepfake related, he continued to deny. If convicted, they could lock him away for over a decade. The courtroom drama was far from finished. The next hearing was scheduled for October 29th, and all eyes were watching to see if Johnny's luck would finally run out. But Johnny's story is more than just a single streamer's downfall. It's part of a bigger trend growing online, the rise of nuisance influencers. People who push boundaries, not with creativity, but by causing chaos in public, mocking history, and testing how far they can go before someone pushes back. For a long time, platforms rewarded this behavior because it brought clicks and views. But in Johnny's case, the backlash became too strong. Countries started to see him not as a streamer, but as a problem. His name became tied to debates about free speech, harassment, and the limits of online fame. In South Korea, newspapers described him as a cautionary tale. In Japan, his name still brings anger. Even in the US, his case sparked questions about whether clout chasing has finally gone too far. The irony is that Johnny Somali always wanted more people to watch. He got what he wanted, but not in the way he expected. Instead of thousands of fans cheering him on, he now faces judges, prosecutors, and critics across multiple countries. His future is uncertain. He could serve years in a South Korean prison. He could be deported, banned, and lose his stage altogether. Or he could walk free and turn his court battles into yet another twisted version of content. Nobody really knows which way it will go. What we do know is this: Johnny Somali's journey from Phoenix to Seoul shows the dark side of internet fame. He turned trolling into a career, but now that career might cost him the freedom he needs to keep streaming. And maybe that's the ultimate warning. In the race for clicks and clout, how far are people willing to go? For Johnny, the answer was simple: as far as it took. But the world he mocked, insulted, and angered may now be the one that finally says, enough is enough. Because in the end, when the camera turns off and the live stream cuts out, all that's left is the person behind it. And sometimes the internet isn't enough to protect you from the consequences of your own actions.